Now that you have looked at what are ions and how positive ions can be formed, let's take a look at the formation of negative ions in this part of the chapter. Now, atoms of non-metals that are found on the right hand side of the periodic table, they generally have more valence electrons. So in order to obtain the stable electronic configuration of a noble gas, these atoms of non-metal, they will gain electrons. So what happens when they gain electrons? So when all these atoms gains electron, there will be more negatively charged electrons compared to the positively charged protons in the atom itself. And this leads to the formation of negative ion, or what we call anions. Let's take a look at one example. Let's take a look at an example of oxygen. Now oxygen, if you take a look at a periodic table, has a proton number of 8. This means that one oxygen atom will have 8 protons. And since this is an atom and the number of protons will be equal to the number of electrons in an oxygen atom, right, you will be able to find 8 electrons. Electronic configuration of an oxygen atom will be 2, 8. So there will be 2 electrons in the first electron shell, or the inner electron shell, and 6 electrons found in the valence electron shell of an oxygen atom. So in order for this oxygen atom to achieve a stable noble gas structure, it will need to gain 2 electrons. Okay, it will need to gain 2 electrons. And when this happens, a negative ion is formed. Your oxide ion is formed. And the oxide ion will have the electronic configuration of 2, 8. So these 2 electrons from other atom will be gained by the oxygen atom to form this oxide ion. And at the end, this oxide ion will have 8 protons and 10 electrons, giving rise to a charge of 2 negative over here. So we say that each oxygen atom will gain 2 electrons to form a negative ion of charge 2 minus. Next, let's take a look at another example, chlorine. Now if you take a look at chlorine, or you try to locate chlorine in your periodic table, you'll find that chlorine has a proton number of 17. So this means that a chlorine atom will contain 17 protons and 17 electrons. Okay, chlorine atom. And it will have an electronic configuration of 2, 8, 7. 2, 8, 7. And since there are a total of 7 valence electrons in the outer electron shell, the chlorine atom will just need to gain 1 electron in order to achieve a stable noble gas structure. So over here, when a chlorine atom gains 1 electron, it will form a chloride ion with an electronic configuration of 2, 8, 8. So in this chloride ion now, I will have 17 protons and 18 electrons. So there are more electrons, therefore the overall charge, since there's 1 more electron compared to the number of protons, the overall charge on the chloride ion is 1 negative. So we say that each chlorine atom will gain 1 electron to form a negative ion of charge 1 minus. Now we have come to the end of this chapter.